Bruchim Abayim, Murai Rabotai. We are continuing on Mesechet Avodah Zarah, and we are 21 lines down from the top of the Amud. Today's Amud is being learned. The Zchut Refuah Shelema for Rachel Simcha Bat Nahid that should have Refuah Shelema. It is also being learned Zchut Refuah Shelema of Meir ben Tova and Sarah Rachel Noram of Hatzlacha of Yigal ben Devorah. We start really a discussion. This I'm putting my place here. We started the discussion in our Mishnah. Of a Jew being mebatel avodat kochavim, a goy being mebatel avodat Harav himself. 2 dots, 21 lines down from the top of Amud and Nun Gimel Amud Aleph, and says the Gemara, Machra Mishkena, the market that we had between Rebbe and Chachamim at the very end of our Mishnah was what happens if a goy sold or left his Avodah Zarah as a guarantor, as a mashkon, to a loan that he wants to take out. And Rebbe said that a goy leaving a mashkon or selling his Avodah Zarah is going to have an effect. And says the Mishnah at the end, if you take a look at the last, says Rebbe, Bitel, that has an effect. It's going to be mebatel avodah zarah. Chacham saying it does not have an effect. It's not going to be mebatel avodah zarah. So says the Gemara, Ma Mishkena Rabbi Omer Bitel, Zeiri Amar Yochanan v'Yirmiyah bar Abba Amar Rav. This is Rav and Rabbi Yochanan. They have it within the understanding of this machloket Rebbe and Chacham. One of them is machloket besoref ovet kochavim, but soref Yisraeli kol bitel. It depends who you're selling it to. The machloket is only if you are selling it or giving on by a sale at least, you're selling it to a soref ovet kochavim. You're giving it to a person he values avodat kochavim. So you're selling it, so maybe it's a disrespect, but you're at least selling it to ovet kochavim who generally. But if you sell it to a Jew who does not respect Avodat Kochavim, is not believe in Avodat Kochavim, so of course then you know that he's going to probably destroy it and something else have it, and therefore it's going to be completely betul according to everybody. That's one of these two. In other words, you have Rabbi Yochanan and Rav commenting on the machloket of Rebbe and Chachamim. One of them says, Rebbe and Chachamim disagree when you are selling it to a goy. But if you sell to a Jew, both Rebbe and Chachamim agree that the Avodah Zarah is nullified by goy who is selling it, because he knows he's throwing it to destruction by selling it to you. The other one holds not like that. That by selling it to a Jew is machloket Rabbi Yochanan Rav. So the people in the Midrash had a question. What does it mean when the other one holds? The other one says that the machloket is by Soref Yisraeli, a Jewish merchant. Does it mean that by a Jewish merchant is located Rabbi Yochanan and Rav, but by goy sure is not people? Are you trying to tell me that their machloket is only by selling it to Jew? But both of them could agree that if a goy sells Avodah Zarah to another goy, it's not considered bitul, because it's shaking hands between two people who both believe in Avodah Zarah, and that's not considered disrespect to Avodah Zarah. That does not constitute a nullification of the Avodah Zarah. They hold by both cases that's not going to affect it. Now I'm coming to get the middle ground and say, look, I hear them in that case, and they should hear me in this case, which indicates clearly that their core machloket stated in the Mishnah applies to both cases of selling it whether to a Jew or to an idol worshiper. Right? So that was our question. Who is the Mishnah talking about? Now we know it's talking about both of them. The Gemara says that's not really a compelling argument because Hachikamar. What he's saying is not retrieving what he said. He's saying like this: Nir'in devarai lechaverai. Rebbe says, I really hold by both cases. But even Chachamim, even my peers who disagree with me, they agree with me in one case. And that is, if you are selling it, Nir'in devarai lechaverai keshemechara lechavala. When you selling it to someone that's going to get rid of it, destroy it, and who is that? Selling it to a Jewish merchant. Even Chachamim agree with me that in that case, the Avodah Zarah, the idol that the Goy sold to a Jew, at that moment of transaction, he nullifies his Avodah Zarah. He says, I'm letting go of this Avodah Zarah because I know the Jew probably is going to break it, probably is going to destroy it. Chachamim not disagree with me. It's only when you sell it to another Goy that disagree with me. But we have a point of agreement. Me and Chachamim, says Rebbe, both agree that if a Goy sells his Avodah Zarah to a Jew, at that moment he is going the Avodah Zarah. He knows that that's not going to anymore be used as Avodah Zarah, and hence it constitutes a bid. Fine. First wide line. Avodah Chaba modulu. Metivi, the Gemara brings another question over here. Are buying metal scraps. The over here is silk scraps over the Chavim merchant, Jewish, and you're dealing with another merchant who's a sold a pile of silver. You want to work with them. You bring them to your shop, and as you're going through them, you find, lo and behold, there is an Avodah Zarah sitting in the rubble, in the pile of metal scraps. What do you do? Now you're a Jew who has an idol in his possession. A Jew is not allowed to use an Avodah Zarah, but you just bought it from him. So you could say, well, a guy who sells his Avodah Zarah constitutes a what? A nullification thereof, the Avodah Zarah. So maybe I am allowed to use it, because it's no longer has. So does the Baitas. Find them that in statute Avodah Zarah. Depends how the transaction is. If you have not even money yet for transaction, they're good, and I'm going to pay you tomorrow. You have not paid yet, then the mekach is completed. And what you do is you will give the Zarah this part is machtaut, or an idol, so that you could nullify it. If you suspect, if you break it, then I'll buy that. You could give it to me and I'll give you for the thing that we had a deal yesterday. You could do, because you not acquired this Avodah Zarah yet, if you have not paid for it. So therefore, the mekach goes back. Now this is a little complicated because it should be mekach. In any case, Rashi and Shoni discuss. But for sake of our simplification, that's the case that you return and could not then give it back, return it to you. But if you already have paid, completed the transaction, says the Gemara, then you're stuck with an Avodah Zarah and you have to go get rid of it, right? No recourse. No recourse. So says the Gemara, second. This is a very telling brighter, because what exactly the case? If you tell me that Rebbe and Chachamim's argument is about selling it even to a Jewish merchant, whereas Rebbe says it's asur, meaning not asur, it's going to nullify the Avodah Zarah when you sell it to Jew, and Chachamim disagree and still says asur, it's not nullified, then I understand who this Braita is. This Braita is Chachamim. Because we're talking about a merchant, a goy, selling a piece of Avodah Zarah to a merchant, a Jew. And the Braita said that you're stuck with it. If you paid for it, the transaction was completed, you're stuck with the statue, you have to get rid of it. Well, according to Rebbe, it's not the case. Once he sells it, you got rid of it. And qualification, you did use it. So who holds that it's asur? Well, if you say the machlok is even selling it to a Jewish merchant, the Chachamim say it still stays asur, then I understand who this Braita is. But if you tell me that everybody agrees that when you sell it to a Jewish merchant, thereby you are because that's the goy. Know that he's going to destroy your Avodah Zarah, and therefore you are nullifying that idol from being a deity. You do have to get rid of this Avodah Zarah. There's nobody says the graph from here. You have ironclad, strong raya that the machloket is even by selling it to a merchant that was rich, but not fast. And if you say that the only machloket is by selling it to a non-Jewish and idol worshiper merchant, but I see it Jewish merchant, but he agrees that who is this? Who is the right Allah? Well, I said no, not best. When we talk about a non-Jewish merchant selling goods to a Jewish merchant, is he takes Avodah Zarah and he says, okay, I have this Jew, you buy it. And he knows that the Jew is going to destroy it. He had knowledge of sale of the Zarah, hence clearly in his mind he is nullifying it. But if I am selling you a pile of silver tabs, I have no idea there is something in the middle. I bought this from somebody on the middleman, I'm selling it for 50% up. So I have no idea there's Avodah Zarah in there. So I never nullified it. If I knew that I'm selling it, I would have never sold it to you because I respect Avodah Zarah so much. In that case, had the mindset of go take an idol and says, I don't want this anymore. I'm selling it, getting rid of it, which at this level of disrespect to deity constitutes a nullification of the deity altogether. But in this case, guy didn't know that there is a statue, just like the Jew didn't know that he's buying it, because under the pile, the Goy did not necessarily know, and therefore that does not constitute nullification. Says the Harav, these things by the way do